Okie dokie. We're gonna do this. Alright. Alrighty. We are starting this. My name is Darcy and I'm going to be making creamy Tuscan chicken. Even though I just made this last week, my household just really wants any excuse that I make this. So we are going to start with the I'm making creamy Tuscan chicken with potato stackers, and I did get both these recipes off tasty.com, so I will link those down below. And yeah, so we are going to start with the potatoes. First, I am going to take my muffin tin. This is what our potatoes are going to go into, and I'm going to take our non-stick cooking spray. I am not going to say the brand because we are not sponsored. I'm going to just get that all greased up and ready to go. I'm going to set that there. We're going to put that away. So now what I am going to do is first I'm going to take a 1/4 stick of butter. I have my very frozen stick of butter here. I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to save 1/2 for when I'm cooking at the stove, and the other half I am going to put in this bowl, and it's going to go into the microwave until it is melted but not exploded all over my microwave. Put this in the microwave. Just start with 15 seconds per interval. That way it doesn't explode all over the place, and I don't want to have to clean that. Okie dokie. Our butter's mostly melted, but I'm not having it explode all over the microwave again. Alright. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And okay, it's preheating now. So now that the butter's melted and we have our pan greased, it is time to slice the mashed potatoes. Now these are clean potatoes. They're all nice and clean. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice the edges off of the potatoes. We're not going to do the ends. And then I'm just going to slice the potatoes, not super duper thin, but we don't want them super thick either. And the recipe on Tasty calls for you to use 10 large, like 10 russet potatoes, like the big boys, and it's like, that is too many potatoes. So I'm just going to slice. I have 6 potatoes on the smaller side, so it should be doable. I'm just gonna put all of my sliced potatoes in my bowl right here. Okie dokie. So now that I have all of our potatoes mixed up, I'm now going to add a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Get all of it out. A teaspoon each of salt and pepper. Salt, pepper, and now we are just going to get a tablespoon of garlic powder, and then add our melted butter. I forgot the Parmesan cheese, that's okay. I'll put it in a second. Okay, so I almost forgot to add the cheese. I need a cup and a half of Parmesan cheese, but who's really measuring? We don't in this house. We measure with our hearts here. Because Parmesan cheese, Swiss cheese, check cheese for poison. We're good. I'd say that's good. And then the rest of this cheese will be used for the sauce later. Alright. So now I'm adding that, and I'm just going to use my handy dandy tongs to get this all mixed up. Get it all incorporated. I am losing potatoes. There we go. Good thing that these counters were clean before I started using it. Now that I have all my potatoes all put together, all mixed up and stuff, I'm going to start stacking them in my pre-sprayed muffin tin. I want to stack them kind of evenly. They will shrink down in the oven. I try to put the kind of thicker pieces or bigger pieces on the bottom. We want to get kind of as many in here as possible. This is why I don't believe that 10 potatoes can all fit inside a muffin tin. There's no way. Alright, so now that we have our potato stackers, we are going to put them in the preheated 350-degree oven for 1 hour. Find the ones. There we go. So now we get to move to the main portion, which is the creamy Tuscan chicken. What I'm gonna start off doing, I'm gonna take our pan here, our, what is it, 12 inch? About 12 inch skillet thing, and I'm gonna put it here on the stove. I have that just sit there for a second, and I'm gonna get our chicken. And so this is where I kind of deviate from the recipe a little bit, because the recipe calls for chicken thighs. I hate chicken thighs. I hate dark meat in general. So I use chicken breasts because I just won't eat dark meat. So I'm gonna take out our thawed out chicken breasts, and I won't have a close-up of this because that's kind of gross. And then I'm going to season the chicken on this first side with some salt and pepper after I throw this bag away and wash my hands. Alright, so we're gonna put some oil here to preheat in the pan for the chicken, because I'm saving the other half of the butter stick I brought out for the onion and garlic. So I have to really season the tar out of the chicken now so that it kind of simulates the crust it's supposed to have because they use skin-on chicken thighs, which I don't. So I'm just trying to recreate that skin with just an abundance of seasoning when it goes into the pan. All right, so we are going to put the chicken seasoned side down. I'm gonna turn this on. There we go. It's gonna sound noisy, but we're gonna need it. Put seasoned side down. That way it does that. And I've down low. Okay, so now I got to chop up onion. Now, I had plans on having a pre-diced onion because I'm a substitute teacher and I got home today after 4 o'clock. But I didn't have any pre-diced onion in my house. So I'm just gonna do the thing where you go vertical, that side down, go vertical, that side down, and then do the sides. And then I'm going to chop it this way. I'm making a mess. What else is new? And now we have little baby grape tomatoes because I did not want to have to get regular big tomatoes through a checkout line. So we're just I'm gonna have these. I'm gonna have them. And then, yeah, they'll reduce when I go to cook. We're just gonna have them. Probably in the way with my hand, but this is how I know how to slice tomatoes in half. And the chicken is back there behind me, just doing its thing. Now we gotta flip the chicken. See how it's kind of crusting? That is what we want. We gotta make sure the chicken's fully cooked before we take it out. And alright, so we've had an interval. I cleaned up everything from earlier. So now we are going to make the sauce. I've already pulled the chicken off. So now we are going to start with taking the onion and garlic and cooking that down. So we're going to get the butter in. It's going to melt down, and then let's put our onion and garlic in. Get that cooked down. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. So now we have the onion, and we are going to cook down the onion and garlic until the onion is translucent, which should just take a few minutes. And if the amount of garlic scares you, what's wrong with you? Because in this household, we measure garlic a lot more than what the recipe calls for. So we're just going to cook this down until the onion is translucent. So now we are ready to add our tomatoes and our spinach. We're first going to add our halved grape tomatoes. And then add our bag of spinach. I'm going to do the different utensils. I'm going to swap to our tongs. We're just going to add the whole bag. This is our veggies, so it can be the whole bag. And we're going to cook this this down until the spinach is wilted. See, it's already starting to wilt. Just gotta turn it and stir it so that it gets down to where it needs to be. It's already almost completely wilted down. So I'm just gonna take a couple more seconds, stir it around. Look, the tomatoes have already started to blister too, which means they're cooking. So now that we have all of that down, we're going to get heavy cream. So just go ahead and follow me with it. We have our heavy cream. We're just gonna pour it in. And once again, this is gonna make way too much sauce, but oh well. And just stir it all in. And we are going to get this to a boil before we add the rest of the stuff. We're just gonna sit here. Come to a boil. Our stationary camera died, so this is bubbling, and so now boiling. So now we are going to add the best parts of this dish, which is the Parmesan and the parsley. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dump all this Parmesan cheese in here. So I make a mess everywhere. Because the cheese is what's gonna make the sauce nice and thick. And then we're gonna add some, not too much. All right. Now we're gonna stir. We're gonna let this go until it's nice and thick. Okay, so now that the sauce is kind of thickened up, we're going to add our chicken back into the sauce. Okay, you're going to put it over here. And the chicken is already kind of sinking in, so I'm just gonna bury it in the sauce. There we go. Alright, we are just about to pull out our potato stackers. We have both parts of our dish. We're gonna plate. I'm going to plate our stackers first. Look at that, see? And they come right out of the pan. Do this one. Give him one more. Now, I'm gonna do chicken. I'm gonna get him the bigger side. I'm gonna fish it out. Here's my test tester. This is my husband.
Hello.
And he's going to taste test the food for us.
So delicious grub. What am I supposed to say? Am I just like supposed to scarf down the food and
Just say what you're feeling about the food.
it is ultimately delicious, and if an entire pan of this were made specifically for me, I would eat the entire thing.
Well, there we go. It's husband approved. Thank you for joining me on this first cooking episode of mine. I hope you enjoyed it. And please join me next time. Bye!